Good morning, friends and fellow traders. This is Doug Campbell with Right Way Options, and this is the morning market prep video for March 13th, 2025. Well, I hope everyone had a great afternoon, a great evening, and ready for another wild day in the market. We have seen quite the volatility here lately. If you remember, I suggested to be careful and be watching for that possibility of whipsaws, and my goodness, did we get that yesterday, pushing down to new lows in the market with all this uncertainty. Although we look way oversold in the short term and are due for a little bit of a relief rally, just haven't found that enthusiasm here yet in the market to get that done with all of the tariff news, with all of the changes that are happening. Got them. The market is just on edge here. And of course, we also have the potential government shutdown coming midnight on Friday unless the Senate passes the bill that was sent forward by the House. So quite a role reversal there in the Senate, where now it's the Democrats suggesting they're going to shut down the government. So who knows what we're going to be dealing with today. But let's take a look at what we have going on in these overnight markets. First off, if we take a look at Asian markets were pretty much lower across the board. South Korea was essentially flat on the day, but Australia was lower by 0.48. The Nikkei was just slightly lower. India was lower by 0.33. Hong Kong was down a little over 0.5%, and Shanghai down 0.39%. We take a look at European markets this morning. European markets are all in the green, just modestly so, with the DAX up 0.23%, FTSE's up 0.4%, and the CAC up 0.48% here this morning, trying to hold on to that bullishness. If we take a look at U.S. futures here this morning, well, U.S. futures have been shifting around just a little bit here this morning, but at the moment, we've got the Dow futures up 44 points. We've got the S&P 500 futures up $4, and the NASDAQ futures down $5.25 here at the moment. So just a little bit of mix going on, trying to lean bullish as we head into some economic data. Let's take a look at what's going on in bonds. Well, our bonds are moving a little bit higher this morning. We've got the 2-year bonds right now at 4%, directly 4%. The 10 years are at 4.33%, and those 30 years moved back up to 4.65%. That's having a knock-on effect here to the U.S. dollar. You can see the U.S. dollar is moving higher this morning, so keep an eye on that. And as a general rule, when we see that happen, we can expect precious metals to be moving lower this morning. But interestingly enough, we have gold futures are higher here this morning. Right now, up $6.30 an ounce. That could easily change here, just simply with that rising dollar. So kind of keep an eye on that. But futures up $6 and now 50 cents an ounce. If we take a look at silver, however, silver had a great day yesterday, and it gapped lower here this morning. But right now we've got silver down just 4 cents here on the day. Copper, platinum are lower, and palladium just ever so slightly higher here this morning. So keep an eye on those precious metals as that dollar starts to move back up. If we take a look at cryptos here this morning, boy, Bitcoin was all over the map yesterday. whipsawing all over the place. Right now, we've got Bitcoin up at $172 a coin. Ether is up $14.15 a coin, and mostly green on those cryptos here this morning. Last but not least, let's take a look at oil. We've got, if we look at those oil producers, they're kind of flat in here, but we've actually got oil moving slightly lower after yesterday's pretty substantial increase. Oil futures right now down 32 cents at 67.35. Brent is down almost 32 cents at the moment, 70.63 a barrel, and natural gas is trying to move back higher after a substantial pullback yesterday, only up about 3 cents at the moment. So what does all that mean for the day? Well, how about we settle in? Let's buckle up. Let's get ready for the Thursday edition of the Morning Market Prep video. Good morning once again, everyone, and thanks so much for being here. I very much appreciate it. Let's take a look at these index charts, see if we can gain a little information about how we might want to approach the market for today. Remember, everyone, we want to look at these charts for what they are, not for what we want them to be. That's the way you can kind of sniff out things like those big whipsaws and things that we talked about, the possibility yesterday. And then we can do a better job of how we approach the market. Let's take a look here at the diamonds. You can see clearly we're in a strong sell-off here on the diamonds, and yesterday making a new low here in the market. And I'm just, to avoid having too many lines on the chart, I'm just going to continue to drag these down. You can see we caught a little bit of support right across here on the diamonds yesterday, and then we started to catch a little bit of a bounce. So if those bulls can continue to find inspiration here today to the upside, then I'm going to look right in here, those two dark candles, the underneath side of those. Here, let me zoom that up. The underneath side of those, we need to first break back through that area of the chart. And if we can, then I think we have that chance of pushing up here toward that resistance in the chart that runs back here quite a ways, and we're running into also this very steep downtrend. And that steep downtrend, although it has been painful on the way down, that may be helpful in relieving some of this pressure itself, because those really steep downtrends are easier to breach to the upside if those bulls can get going. Now, if the bears have anything to say here in the market, well, you can see it wouldn't be all that hard to fall off of that edge here today. Remember, we've got some data today that certainly can move us pretty substantially. And I'm going to suggest this next level lower is going to be somewhere right down in here if those bears were to get going here on the day. Now, our moving averages were well below our 200-day. What I would like to see, I think what most would like to see at this point, is a little bit of relief back to the upside. I'm not suggesting that's going to turn the market bullish, but give us a little bit of relief rally and maybe push us back up here toward this 200-day moving average in the chart. Let's take a look at our SPY. Also quite bearish here, pushed down yesterday, didn't quite make it to that new low here in the diamonds like the diamonds did. Pushing back up and putting in a nice little hammering pattern. Fortunately, we're gapping down again this morning here on that move. So if those bulls can continue to follow through here to the upside, I'm going to look for this resistance right in here, see if we can break through that resistance area of the chart. And if we can, then I think we're probably up here testing this downtrend area and maybe the top of that black candle right there. That's going to be a pretty good move, certainly possible, but watch that closely. Now, if the bears were to have anything to say at all on the day, then a pushback down, maybe to retest this low, could be possible. Breaking down below there would really raise some pretty significant concern. There is a little bit of support, as you can see, right through here in the chart that might catch us. But again, that's going to be a painful little pullback if that were to occur. Here again, if we look at those moving averages, we're well below our 200-day moving average in the SPY. A relief rally that could bring us back up into this area here near that 200-day or up around the 200-day would be greatly appreciated to relieve some of that selling pressure in the market. Our QQQ also feeling significant pain, but the good news is it refused to get down there and retest those lows, holding more in a consolidation pattern. And this morning you can see that little bit of bullishness coming in. We're trying ahead of these data points to say we're ready to go higher, and if those bulls can get that inspiration here and push on through this area, then breaking through that resistance, and then I think I'd be looking at the top of that black candle right here to see if we can push on higher than that. But just keeping in mind, we've also got that downtrend in the way that could easily breach if we can get that good bullish push here in the market. Then again, if those bears have anything to say about things with the data today, then I would look for that possible reversal here on the day, whipsaw this back down and retest this area of price support in the chart. Breaking below that, well, it gets kind of painful because we'd be looking at probably a level maybe down in here that could catch us in that price action. So just keep that in mind. And here again, we're well below our 200-day. A rally back up here to test that 200-day would be a nice little relief in the market. Whether we can get that or not, that's still in question. And IWM, that Russell, also pushing down yesterday, but it didn't move down and make a new low. So looking at the chart here, we can see that that push down here to test that area of the chart, we bounced back up, and we're trying to get a little bit of levity in here this morning. So first thing, we need to attack this area of resistance. You can see I've got a double line in here. It's kind of a tough little area of resistance that we're going to have to break back through, and of course this downtrend as well. If we can get that bullish inspiration pushing up through there, then I think we have that opportunity to push back up here toward this big resistance that goes all the way back here to 2021 and 2022, those lows in the chart. And then of course above that we would be looking at that 200-day moving average, which is way up there. But one of the things I want you to notice is we will very quickly have the death cross here in IWM with that 50 breaking down through the 200. Not a good look here for the Russell at all. Let's take a look at our VIX. Now, the good news is yesterday, with that little bit of relief that we did see in the afternoon trying to push back up, didn't make a whole lot of progress. There just wasn't a whole lot of breadth in the market to make it happen. But you can see pulling that VIX back here, we're coming back toward this upside trend, coming back here toward this support area in the chart. So let's watch this area in here. If those bulls continue to find inspiration, well, a good solid test of this or even a break of that would help quite a bit here in the market, relieving some of that pressure and reducing some of that volatile price action in options. Watch that carefully, though, if those bears were to find any inspiration. If we catch in here, that could constitute the next higher low here in the market. And, well, we can see where we can go right back up here to these highs and even see about breaking out up there. It's certainly possible. If we take a look at our T2122, T2122 gave us a little hope yesterday because we popped up here just a little bit in that bullish reversal zone. We need some kind of follow through here to get that going. You can see if the bulls can find inspiration, my goodness, we've got plenty of upside for them. And we certainly did do that you guys have heard me say that possibility that we could linger down here. Well, we certainly have made that known pretty well here in T2122. Unfortunately, if those bears have anything to say with this economic data that's coming out this morning, that little pop-up gives us that opportunity that we can push back down here again. So watch that carefully in the market. Our T2108, percentage of stocks above the 40-day moving average, continued to fall yesterday. If there's any good news in here, we got a little tiny hook. See that little tiny hook starting to happen, like that hockey stick on the ice. When you got a hockey stick down there on the ice, you have that opportunity to score, and that opportunity that we may start getting a little bit of push to the upside. But I got to tell you, it's awfully hard to be too encouraged when we look at something like this and see that we are below 20% of the stocks holding above their 40-day moving average. That makes for a pretty darn bearish situation, but also leans us to that place where we should get a relief rally here soon. We're kind of overdue for that. If we take a look at T2107, well, our T2107 did have a little bit of rise yesterday. We're right in there around 30% of the stocks holding above their 200-day. You will want to keep in mind that we can go lower in T2107. If those bears were to have something to say in here, you can see we caught a little support right in that area. Well, we could easily push down here if the bears have something to say. And if the bulls can continue that follow through on some good data, maybe we start pushing back up here toward this 35 area and this resistance in the chart on T2107. And then looking at our T2101, T2101 did have a little bit of breadth increase yesterday, but I got to tell you, the majority of the volume in there yesterday was on the bearish side. Even though those bulls fought back, they didn't have any energy to just continue to push on through. Bounced us off the lows, but that's about all they could do here on the day. So we need to see some good substantial breadth on the bullish side to see those bulls push up through there and get things going. And unfortunately, already here in the pre-market, well, things have softened up just a little bit. We now have the NASDAQ futures down 42 points. We've got S&P 500 futures still down 4.5 points, and the Dow has gone into the red, but only by about 2 or 3 points here. So we're struggling here this morning just to hold on to that green as we head in to our economic reports here for the day. So what does that look like? Well, first off, if we're going to get going on this, let's take a look here. First thing this morning, we've got jobless claims coming in. They are expecting those jobless claims in the consensus to move just a little bit higher to 230,000. I keep thinking that might start picking up a little bit more just with the amount of layoffs coming or going through the government in Washington, D.C., but we'll watch that pretty closely in here. So don't be surprised if there's a little bit of an increase here. How that affects the market, I'm really not sure today. We're already so bearish. How much more downside selling can we get unless real panic starts to set in? Would be the question. Now, we've got the PPI numbers here. PPI will be probably the most important for the market movers today, and you can see they're suggesting PPI is coming down. We've got a 0.3 here on the month over month. They're looking for a 0.4, down 1/10 from the year over year, and the ex-food and energy month over month, they're suggesting that's going to stay flat. Remember, our CPI numbers did reduce and felt a little bit better yesterday, coming back down. So maybe those promises are being capped, but of lowering prices from this administration, but at the same time, I don't think these numbers are really reflecting any of the tariff impacts that may still be coming down the pipeline here. So watch carefully there. We've got quarterly services survey. We've got an EIA natural gas report coming in here. Several bond auctions. Most notable is going to be that 30-year note auction that is continuing to move up here this morning. So watch carefully on that. And then the Fed balance sheet. Once we get past that, not a whole lot here on Friday, just that consumer sentiment number coming in at 10 o'clock and a Baker Hughes rig count. If we take a look at our earnings today, well, our earnings calendar, we've got a few things going on in there. Again, not doing the blog until next week, but if you guys want to take a screenshot of this, this is the notable reports for the day. I'll run through them really quickly. So I'll give you a moment to pause the video and take that screenshot. But then we're going to move right through and let's talk about some of these stocks. We've got Dollar General reporting today. It looks like it's trying to move up just a little bit. GIII will be reporting today. Also, a little whipsaw in there, but maybe trying to get just a tiny bit higher here. And WB also trying to move just a tiny bit higher. After the bell, we have the more important notables, but we're going to start off with like BRY, BLMK will be reporting, DocuSign, better get D. There we go, DocuSign. We've got EVCM, we've got PD, we've got RBRK, SMTC, TTAN, Ulta will be in there, WPM will report, XPOF, and old ZUMZ, the old Zoomies, will be reporting. So keep an eye on those. Those are the notables for today. So how about we take a look at a few stocks that could be setting up for today. But before we do that, everyone, if you could do me that quick favor, if this is the first time you've seen these videos, if you could please click that subscribe button on YouTube and also click that bell icon when it pops up so you'll be notified every time I post a video. And if you find these videos to be useful or helpful, if you could do me that favor and click that thumbs up button, leave a brief comment, that helps the channel to grow. Thank you so much for everyone who takes the time to do that. I very much appreciate it. It means an awful lot to me, and you guys are truly awesome. Thank you for sharing these videos out on your social media feed. Also, for those of you who continue to support the channel through the Buy Me a Coffee link just below the title of the video. So first off, let's take a look at a few of those stocks. And remember, everyone, these aren't recommendations to buy or sell any security. You need to do your own due diligence and be very, very careful in this market. One of the areas I have to continue to talk about and continue to go to are some of these defensive sector stocks. Now, we did have some of those pulling back yesterday, getting caught up in the selling, but take a look at Altria. Altria, now, I have a bias on this because I'm holding it at the close of yesterday. I'm up 61% on Altria. And if you guys want to know how we do this over in RWO, we've got a, I've got a open house coming here next Monday. So if you have an interest, there is this open house that will be on Monday. You'll be able to be there all day. Ask me any questions that you like and participate in the trading room for free. So keep an eye on that. There'll be links for registering for it as we go through the rest of this week. So kind of keep that in mind. Monday, if you are available, would love to see you in Right Way Options. But if you look at this chart right in here, this resting pullback, pulling back into this trend and possibly into this support, I would be watching this for that next opportunity for those bulls to push on through here to the upside. Keep a close eye on that. Now, there was some selling in some of these defensive sector stocks yesterday, pulling some of these back pretty substantially, actually. but I would still keep an eye on them. If there's going to be continued uncertainty in the market, I would watch these pretty carefully on some of those stocks. Take a look at Philip Morris. Nice little resting pattern looking in there pretty good for that potential hold of support and an upside move. I think that's worth paying attention to. Mondelez had a pretty strong pullback yesterday, kind of breaking this upside trend in here. If it can come in and find some support, maybe around this area, rest a little bit, and then see if it can move up. Take a look at Constellation Brands. Constellation Brands in a beautiful little potential setup here. Nice little inverted head and shoulders pattern down in here. Broke through this resistance, holding in here, sliding out toward trend. I would be looking at Constellation for that next upside opportunity here in the chart. Looking pretty good overall. Now, there's also some pretty good looking short trades that have perked up here in the market. Take a look at DoorDash. This rally back to resistance in here and this downtrend. This is the perfect place to be watching for a potential short trade. Now, watch this carefully up in here on that resistance and this downtrend. If this happens to show failure, that's your entry potential into that short trade. And we have to admit all four of our indexes are in a downtrend, and we have to start watching some of these short trading opportunities to come up in the market. And there are quite a few of those out there in the market to be paying attention to. Take a look at Crocs. Crocs, nice little pop back up here on the day, but watch that carefully here again. We've got this downtrend in play, this resting consolidation in here. This still has that potential. If we get a failure in here, I'm not suggesting predict it, I'm suggesting wait for it. If that were to start to show failure here, I would look for that opportunity. This could drop through this low and even complete this gap fill here in the chart. So keep an eye on those. When we look at things like Lulu, you can see these patterns in here that I'm talking about. When we can't get back through an area of resistance and we come out to trend, we start to show these failure patterns and continue to move lower. This is one you don't want to chase. It's already down significantly. We need that to either consolidate out to the trend or rally back up to the trend. But watch those carefully for those potentials if we're going to continue to see that pressure in the market. GME continuing to move in this downtrending move here in the chart. Little rest or consolidation out here to trend, just like this one here. And we would look for that next potential move to fail to the downside. And there are a lot of stocks like this that we need to be watching pretty darn closely for those potential failures. Let's take a look on the side here of Colgate. Colgate, a defensive sector stock. Really whopper of a pullback here on the day. If it can hold this support, there may be some upside opportunity in here, but I got to tell you, if this gets any kind of a bounce back in here and struggles in here around some resistance area, that sets up that lower high in here. So this one is off the table for now. A little bit of question in here, but it is worth watching. Take a look at PHYS. Gold, physical gold here in the market. Beautiful little bullish pattern setting up here. Now the question is, can we break through that recent upside high and then stretch on up? Remember, we're not that far from 3,000 gold here, and so that big round number is likely pulling pretty hard on this. This is that higher low, nice little consolidating pattern in here. If that breaks on higher, keep an eye on physical gold, which is cheaper to trade than GLD, and you're actually trading physical gold, but something to pay attention to. That's trying to move up. And how about PSLV? Which I happen to hold, have a little bias on this, but PSLV looking pretty good here, stretching through some resistance in the chart, trying to show some bullishness here this morning, trying to push back up. So watch that carefully if that silver has an opportunity to move higher. And of course, when that is happening, we need to keep an eye on these miners. GDX looking good, trying to push to the upside. Take a look at Barrick Gold. Barrick Gold, beautiful bullish pattern in here. That nice little resting consolidation. Watch for that opportunity for this to pop out and see if that can push on through. I don't know what day it would be that would push on through and break through that resistance. That's looking pretty good. AYI, really ugly pattern here in AYI for that potential continuation to the downside. And here again, we see those patterns over and over and over where we bounce back to resistance, fall. There's that bearish engulfing yesterday. I really think AYI can continue on down to the downside. Not looking good at all. Take a look at Rocket on the bullish side. Rocket showing some bullishness and that potential push on through here, holding here on this support, trying to get something going. So that is worth paying attention to as well. And I got to tell you, when we look at our financials overall, this is not a good thing here for XLF. If it can hold this support, maybe we can get a little bit of a relief rally here and start pushing this back up toward that 50-day moving average. But I got to tell you, if we see any additional bearishness in here, I think a failure off of this area could push us right down into that 200-day moving average of support in the chart on XLF. So I would be watching this for that potential short to come into play. So there's a few stocks for you to pay attention to. I am running this video a bit long here this morning. Thanks everyone for being here. Thanks everyone for putting up with me while I've been gone through all of these family things that we've had to deal with, 2 deaths in the family. Thank you so much. I want to wish you all a great day. I want to wish you great success in your trading. And I'll see you right back here bright and early tomorrow morning. And hopefully I will see you there Monday for our open house. Take care, everyone. As always, I wish you all the best.